Good afternoon. My name is Catherine, and you can call me Kathy. So I represent SkillUpRight for you today. SkillUpRight has been in the business for the last 2 years, and mainly dealing with process training and soft skills training. All right. So today I deal with the soft skills bit of it, and we are doing a 1-hour webinar on effective time management. I know we cannot cover everything in 1 hour, but we will give you a few tips on how you can manage time. I'm sure each and every one of you has a question as to, we're all juggling with that thought, isn't it? What do I do first? How do I manage time? It's a roller coaster ride sometimes, isn't it? So let's see how best we can help you today. We are going to be running a webinar, a proper time management workshop on the 27th, 28th, and 29th. So we've split it. It's an 8-hour program, which we've split into over 3 days, so that it doesn't clash with your work schedule. All right. But let's go ahead and start. Let me know if you can see my screen. Yeah. I'd request all of you to please mute yourselves. So today we are going to look at effective time management. $1,000,000 question. We're all juggling with time management, but we are going to get there, right? It's all within us. How we manage to do it is what we're going to talk about today. All right. If you have any questions, please put them into the chat box, and I have put aside about 5 minutes at the end of the session to answer your questions if you have any. So please make sure you put them into the chat box, and we will get it going from there. All right. So to tell you a little about myself, I have been involved in training and coaching for more than 20 years. I work in the areas of business and education. I've set up call centers, cafes, educational establishments. I work with a number of schools and colleges on personality development, child development, music, and nutrition. Extensive work experience in the service industry, IT, ITES, BPOs, colleges. I work with individuals as well in helping you upskill yourself to, with your personality development, help you with your soft skills, and help you move up the ladder when it comes to your work life. I've trained over 20,000 people across India and internationally as well. I've worked in the medical field as well, teaching them soft skills. So we think that, doctors and nurses don't need it, but well, everyone does need a little bit of soft skills, and that's the magic of how we progress in today's world, isn't it? Yeah. So I also develop and design training programs based on the need of the hour. What is it that you require? Based on your requirements, I would understand what are the pain areas and then create content for you and deliver training based on that. All right. So what are the objectives of the workshop? To analyze how you currently spend your time, control time wasters, learning the art of saying no. I think this is where all of us struggle, isn't it? And being assertive when we communicate to optimize time management, because invariably, especially we as Indians are very submissive type of people, I would say, compared to the rest of the world. We tend to be more of the, I bow my head down and do whatever it is that you tell me to do, but not understanding that sometimes we're actually tearing ourselves into bits trying to please others, and in the end we're not pleasing anyone else, we're not pleasing ourselves as well. But how are we going to manage that? All right. Don't we all say this is not enough hours in the day? Well, if you think there are not enough hours in the day for your work, remember to stop doing the things that don't matter, but please remember to put aside a little time for your own Personal time, okay? We all need a bit of personal time. If we don't give ourselves that much, what are we living for? Isn't it? Okay, so I hope each of you have got a pen and paper handy. If you do, so I'm going to give you an activity right now. I want you to put down, I'm giving you 5 things that are happening in your house at the same time. Put down how you would prioritize this work, okay? So first, the telephone is ringing. Your baby's crying. There's a knock on the door and it's your best friend. You've got clothes hanging out to dry and it started raining. And the kitchen tap is on and the water is overflowing. All right? In which sequence would you solve these problems? I'm going to give you a minute now to do that. Okay? So remember, the telephone is ringing, your baby is crying, someone's knocking at the door, it's your best friend. You hung the clothes out to dry and it is beginning to rain. The kitchen tap is on and the water is already overflowing. What would you take care of first? In what sequence would you take care of it? I'm going to give you a minute to put your answers down. Think about it carefully before you put your answers down. You don't have to tell me your answers, all right? But please write it down. It's very important for you to write it down because I will tell you what they signify, and that will give you a better understanding of how your mind works and what do you actually prioritize in your life, all right? Are we done with that? So let's look at what the interpretation of it means, all right? So each individual point represents something in your life. So the telephone represents your work. So if you've put the telephone as your first priority, would mean that in your mind, your work takes top priority more than anything else. The baby represents your family. The door represents your friends. The clothes represents money. And the tap represents your love life. Okay? Now, analyze what do you think you have prioritized in your life. Okay?
Hi, Catherine. You are not. That PPT is not showing.
PPT is not showing?
Yes.
1 minute. Let me just. Let me start screen sharing again. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can see now.
All right. I'm giving you the sequence again. The telephone is ringing, your baby's crying, someone's knocking on the door, you've hung your clothes out to dry. Okay, the interpretation is the telephone represents your work, the baby represents your family, the door represents your friends, the clothes represent your money, and the tap represents your love life. Okay? Now, can all of you see it? I hope so. So, what according to you is time management? Each of us have different answers, isn't it? So, I'm going to ask you to send me a few of your answers. What do you think is time management? You can put it into the chat box. What do you think is time management? A good question, isn't it? Very simply, time management is doing things for the right reason, not just for the sake of doing it to make sure that you do what is linked to your job or whatever objective that you are looking at handling, right? Also remember to do something at the right time. If you need to have a meal, there's a certain time that we have our meals at, right? If we don't now, when you look at not eating on time, what's the consequence of it? Invariably our health fails, isn't it? Similarly, when it comes to time, when it comes to our day-to-day lives, if we don't do things at a certain time, if we're not if we don't set a routine to what we do, what happens is everything goes haphazard, everything goes out of sync, and then we're lost. But if we do things at the right time, we know what is a priority, what needs to be done at a certain time. It makes life so much better. It makes your time management a lot more effective. And remember to do it the right way. So there are many ways to do things, right? One, you can, so to go from point A to point B, you can go in a straight line, or you can decide you want to go to point A to C to D to E, and then to point B. Different ways of doing it. But remember, look at what is the right way of doing things, because that's the most important thing to do. If you do it the right way, organized. Let's take, for example, simple concept of making tea, all right? I love tea, so I'm telling you, tea or coffee, whichever one it is that you're making. So how do you make tea or coffee? There are different ways of making tea and coffee, but what is the most time effective way of making it is what would matter. Understand? Very simply, time management is planning to achieve goals by structuring time and activities without forgetting that we have to combat time killers. What are time killers? Time wasters. Example, very simple logic. We all have this one thing that we love with all our hearts, right? We have to check messages these days. WhatsApp messages, I have to check social media, I have to check my email. Every 5 minutes I keep checking because it's turned a force of habit. That is a time waster. A simple example of a time waster. Okay, so let's look at how do we manage those time wasters to make sure that we manage our time effectively. So what is time management? It is planning to achieve goals by structuring time and our activities. 10 of the most basic time wasters that we have in life, okay? Waiting for inspiration. How many of us do that? I'm sure plenty of us do that, right? Oh, I work best under stress. So I'll wait till the last minute to do something. You know what happens when we wait till the last minute? It never gets done. One, you're killing yourself with the stress. Two, you're dying to finish to meet a deadline, and invariably the last minute, let's say the power's gone, and you're stuck. It's better to finish 3 hours early than 1 minute late. Okay, it's better to finish 3 hours earlier than 1 minute late. Always remember that. Okay, remember, people judge you by how you manage your time, and it's very important to make sure that you manage time. But when I say manage time, it doesn't mean that you are so stuck on doing just one thing that you forget other things. No, it's about learning to balance. Okay, waiting for inspiration, big time waster. Worrying about what people will say. Unfortunately, in the society that we live in, this is a major problem, isn't it? We are so worried about what people will say, what people will think. How many of us sit and complain, oh my God, I have to send this report by tomorrow, and my team leader is going to chew my brains? You know, the amount of time that
Hi,
you.
Catherine. Sorry.
Hi.
Are you changing slide or it's not moving?
No, 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 I haven't changed the slide. You're seeing
This
10
is in
time
a
wasters, right?
sixth slide, yeah.
You're looking at 10 time wasters, right?
No. What is time management? Sixth
Oh,
slide.
goodness. I'm sorry, guys. Wait, I guess I need to. It's still stuck at the sixth slide, is it?
Yes, correct.
How can you see it changing?
Just to go with the slide mode, no?
How can you see what is time management, planning to achieve goals?
Share your slide, Catherine.
Can you see it now?
I can see now.
On the seventh slide. I'm on the seventh slide.
But it's not in a full screen mode.
Sorry?
It's not in a full screen mode.
Oh, here it's on full screen mode. 1 minute.
Again, the PPT is gone.
Now can you see it?
Yeah, Catherine. Perfect now.
Seventh slide.
Yeah, perfect.
Planning to achieve goals by
Yes,
structuring time and
correct.
activities.
Yes.
Yes, okay,
Now perfect. It's
great.
going. Bye.
Thank you for the feedback. Okay, so remember, we need to cut out the time wasters. Time wasters, the time that we spent complaining, right? 30 seconds or a minute. Imagine you put aside those 30 seconds to a minute every day, how much of time you're actually saving at the end of the month. So the time that we spend complaining, if we do something concrete and something constructive, makes our life so much easier. Okay, I know we love to complain. It gives us a feel good factor to complain sometimes, but let's save that time to do something constructive. The fourth point, trying to please everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm sure each and every one of you have a big smile on your face right now, isn't it? We are people pleasers. By nature, human beings are people pleasers. I want everyone to be happy with me. Reality check, not everyone's going to be happy with you all the time. And it's all right. It's perfectly all right if not everybody is not happy with you. Okay? Please remember, you need to be happy sometimes. What happens is these days we're so busy trying to please everybody else, we forget to please ourselves. But remember, you are what matters, all right? Another problem that we tend to do is we start comparing ourselves with others. Oh, that person is so much more organized. That person does things better. That person speaks better. Let's stop doing that. Repeating the same mistakes. Oh, I don't understand why we do that. Because remember, a mistake, the first time you do it is a mistake. The second time you do it is no longer a mistake because it's something that you've already done before, right? Okay? Expecting perfectionism. Please understand, it's all right for us not to be perfect. Okay? It's all right not to be perfect. I know we all have different personality types. Some people are very bindas. But some people want, if I say it has to be 1 inch, it needs to be cut at 1 inch. If it says 50 words, it needs to be only 50 words. It cannot have 51 words. Understandable. Okay? But remember, life is not perfect. It's all right to have a little, give yourself a little room to move around. All right? Lack of priorities. Again, this is something that we struggle with. How do I prioritize? What takes first priority? I'm sure that with the activity that you've done, you'll understand now in your mindset. So that is a subconscious way of telling you, okay, this is what I prioritize in my life. Then if you've done that activity, now you'll understand, okay, this is what I actually prioritize. So which means I need to change my priorities if I need to move forward, right? One thing you need to remember is if you really want to achieve something, set goals for yourself. Set goals, set timelines for yourself. That will help you achieve your priorities. All right? The fear of failure. How many of us can say, I am not scared of failure? Very few, isn't it? Very few of us who can actually say, I'm not afraid of failure. But please understand, failures are stepping stones to success. It's all right if you fail once or twice. Okay? It's perfectly all right to fail, but it's better to have than tried and failed than not to have tried at all, isn't it? So please remember, don't be scared of failure. It's all right. It's all right if we make some mistakes. We learn from those mistakes, okay? But last but not least, make time for yourself. You tend to forget that you exist by trying to do everything that comes along the way. That you have no time for yourself. At the end of the day, you're sitting and thinking, I still have so much to do and I still have not done anything for myself. Please remember to put aside at least 1 hour in the day for yourself. Okay? Me time. Put it on your list of priorities. Me time. Me time is very important time. All right? Can you see the next slide? Guys, what I would suggest is you could probably take a screenshot of this slide because it will help you going forward. Either take a picture of it or take a screenshot of it. Okay? This is the urgency importance matrix. Now, in column 1 is something that needs to be done, important, and it is urgent. Things with clear deadlines and consequences for not taking immediate action. Now, what are things that would, so this is an activity that you need to do for yourself, all right? Make a list of things. What are the things that have deadlines? What is it that I need to complete? What are the consequences if I don't complete this work? That will help you understand the urgency level. Okay. Emails, right? 1 week. Array, it's not important, yeah. Who cares? It's all right. But please remember, email takes a few seconds to be delivered to you.
Hello, Catherine, are you there? Hello, Catherine.
Can you see me?
Yeah, hi, Catherine. We
Can
are
you
able
see
to
me?
see. Yeah. We are able to see you, Catherine.
Okay. I guess
I think we lost you for
yes,
some time.
I got
Yeah.
thrown out. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah. The video has been able to. I'm able to see your video.
Okay, but you can't see the screen.
Yeah, we're able to hear you.
I've not shared. I've not shared the screen right now. Any questions that you have to throw at me right now, before we move on?
One thing
Thank you,
that
Samir.
yeah.
No questions. All right. I hope you've taken a screenshot of this importance urgency matrix. Can you see my screen? Can you see the screen? So how do we correct our orientation? How do we check whether we're doing our, our management right? Remember in the square one, important and urgent matters. What's something that needs to be done now? Something that you need to do for yourself, okay? Square two is important matters that are not urgent, that can be done later, but you need to give yourself a deadline, okay? Square three, unimportant, and they're unimportant. When you say unimportant, I would say they're not really something that you need to do for yourself. It's something that you can delegate to somebody else, okay? Something that needs to be dealt with, but not needs to be, it does not have to be done by you itself. Square four is something that you can delegate, you can just throw out of your list. Sometimes we tend to spend a lot of time on things that we don't really need to do. And we spend a lot of time on that. When we look at the, the 80-20 rule, you'll understand what I'm talking about. All right? Okay, saving time for square two. Square two is where you need to do it, where you need to start doing your, setting your deadlines, making sure that that work is done. All right? So remember, an inch of time is equal to an inch of gold, but you can't buy an inch of time with an inch of gold. I love that saying. It's a Chinese proverb, which is so true, right? Time is precious, but it's not something that you can buy. Once time is gone, it's gone. You cannot get it back. So how do we make sure that we utilize our time to the maximum, right? So you've taken a screenshot of the matrix, so you understand where are we taking off from. Square three and square four. So square three is where you're going to delegate work. Square four is where you're going to chuck things out. Not necessary, throw it out. That's how you will make time for square two. Square two is where you would need to put things that you need to schedule. They're not really urgent, but they're things that need to be done over time, right? It's impossible to ignore square one activities, though their scope will diminish over time because more time will be spent in square two. Square two is your time, okay? Remember in square two to develop and carry out preventive measures. Be proactive towards a job in square two because squares 1 and 3 will be proactive towards you. Most importantly, say no. It is perfectly all right to say no. I know each and every one of us struggle with this, and this is questions that I'm going to get at the end of the session. How do we handle that no? I am going to give you a few techniques on how to handle no. All right? But please remember, it is very important for us to start learning to say no. How many of you have heard this? Oh, I'm too busy. I cannot do it now. Yeah, I cannot meet you today. No, I'm very busy. We've all heard that. I'm sure we've all heard it in life. But please remember, nobody is too busy. It's all a matter of priority. If it is important to you, you will make the time for it. Okay? So let's understand, why can't we say no? Why is it that we struggle with that one word? Such a simple word, just 2 letters, and it kills us, right? Few thoughts that run through our mind. If I say no, the other person might get hurt, or the person might feel rejected. I don't want that to happen. If I say no this time, they will not ask me to do anything more, or they may not even like me because I said no. Can you relate to these to these situations, people? I want you to try and do that. Relate what I'm talking to into your personal life, okay, with what's happening in your personal life. If I say no this time, they may never ask me to do anything again. They won't take notice of me if I say no. I will not be given importance. Maybe the next time I ask somebody for something, they will say yes. So if I say no now, what will happen? I go on a guilt trip, right? I can't say no because I feel sorry. That person is doing so much of work. What if I don't help them now? Who will help them? Aren't these the points that come across in our mind? If I say no, I will lose favor with them. Can we all relate to these points? So here's things that we're going to do, okay? Say no without guilt, and make sure your yes really counts. So when you say yes, please remember, a yes is a promise, okay? If I say yes, I will do it, it needs to be done. It is as good as a promise. Unfortunately for us as Indians, we are yes men. We're people pleasers. We love to say yes, we'll nod the head. Yes, 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 yes. But that yes never happens. I'll say yes and go about my own business. But please remember, in a global environment, when I say yes, a yes is as good as a promise. When you make a promise to someone, would you keep it? You have to make sure that you keep it. All right? So if you say yes, it has to be done. If you cannot do it, please go ahead and say no. Say, I really wish I could help you with this. So I'm giving you a nice way of saying no now, okay? I really wish I could help you with this. Unfortunately, I have other priorities right now that need to take, that need to be finished on priority. Do or do not. So I say, I can do it or I can't do it. There is no, I'll try and do it. We love to say that, right? I'll try and do it. I hear this very often, especially in the corporate world. Your manager asks you to do something, you say, I'll try, sir. That sir needs to go out the window. That's a different issue, okay? But remember, there is no try. There's black, there's white. We don't deal with gray, okay? And it's perfectly all right to say, I'm sorry, I can't do it right now. Learn to say no. It's very important to say no, but also have a justification. When I say have a justification, means don't be somebody who says no to everything. There are certain things that if it is in your bandwidth to do, then please go ahead and say yes. That's perfectly all right. But if it is going to if it's going to eat into your time, then it's all right to say no, okay? Start your reply with a clear, firm, audible no. Don't mumble. Say, I can't do that. I'm sorry. No. this is something that we think we are bound to do. We need to justify why we said no. It's your time. You don't have to justify it. Unless you're working on somebody else's time, then you have to justify. But otherwise, it is not necessary to make excuses. No, yeah, I can't do that because I have to go for my sister's wedding. I have to take my dog for a walk. You don't have to give excuses. I'm sorry, I don't have the time. No, finished. All right? Don't justify. Don't waste time on justifying. It's a time waster. Remember that you have the right today to say no. And once you've said no, please don't sit around and wait for them to persuade you to say yes, okay? Say, I'm sorry, I don't have the time. I can't help you with this. No. Leave it. Walk away. All right? And go and do what you have to do. Don't waste time sitting around. Remember, you are saying no to that particular request and not rejecting the person. Sometimes we tend to go on a guilt trip because we tend to link the person to the objective or the work that needs to be done. Remember, they're two different entities, okay? You're saying no to the work. You're not saying no to the person. Most of the time, we tend to feel guilty because we think we're saying no to the person. But remember, you are saying no to the job that needs to be done, not to the person. All right? That is the first level of maturity. Remember to differentiate between the object of the work and the person. All right? Take responsibility for saying no, but don't blame the other person for asking you. Say, every time you keep coming to me asking me to do your work for you, you think I have no other work to do. Time waster. No. I cannot do it? No, that's it. Leave it at that. All right? The 80-20 rule. So I'm sure each and every one of us go to a coffee shop, right? So 20% of what you do produces 80% of your results. Let's take a simple, see, I love coffee, so I have to give coffee as an example. If you go to a coffee shop, okay? You go to a coffee shop, what takes the least amount of time to make? Is it a sandwich or is it a cup of coffee? Or is it a pie? The coffee or the tea takes the smallest amount of time, right, to prepare. But what gives them the biggest sales, the most sales in a coffee shop, is the coffee. It takes the least amount of time, but gives you the greatest results. That's what this rule is all about. 20% of what you do produces 80% of your results. So to any of you who've seen my promo, I asked a question, right? If I had 6 minutes to to chop down a tree, how much time would I take in sharpening the axe? I got some very crazy answers. Some people told me shouldn't chop trees, you should save the environment. So the concept is not about chopping the tree. It was just to give you an idea, all right? When I say chop down a tree, it is to give you an understanding of what is the job that needs to be done, okay? Now, most of the time, what we tend to do is we tend to waste time on doing the hard work without actually planning. Now, this is where this rule comes into play, okay? Of the 6 minutes that I was given to chop down the tree, I would use 4 minutes in planning on sharpening that axe. So when I say sharpening that axe, I am talking about planning. How do I execute that job that needs to be done? You understand? So 80% of the time will actually be spent in planning, and 20% of that is what will take to execute that plan. If you follow this principle, you will find things so much easier. Because what happens? Okay, now there's an activity. If we were doing an active class session, I would have done an activity with you guys. I would have told you, I want 10 things in 3 minutes. So what's going to happen? I've given you a list of 10 things. The natural tendency for us is to run like monkeys to go and search for those 10 things, right? But in those 3 minutes, if I'd taken 2 minutes, if I'd taken, let's say, even 1 minute, okay? I'd taken 1 minute to say, okay, guys, there are 5 of us. Each of you have to bring 2 items. I've planned, we've all decided, okay, this person is going to get 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 this. Now, I've done that. I've wasted time by planning, right? In my mind, I've wasted time. Because in that time, I could have gone searching for those things. But now what are we doing? One person is only looking for 2 things. Otherwise, what happens? There are 10 people running for 10 things. Who's going to get what? Then what happens? There's a lot of duplication that happens. Waste of time. But in the time that I've spent to plan, okay, you're going to get the pen and you're going to get the shoe. You're going to get the note and you're going to get the cap. So that person knows, okay, this is my job. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on that. When you do that, 80% of your time is spent in being proactive, okay? And only 20% is actually taken to do the job. Remember, understand? So these are things that you need to remember. These are things that you need to keep in mind when you are planning. Determine what is urgent. Remember the matrix. Sit down. Remember, plan your day, okay? The previous night, before you step out for the day, get into the habit of making a list of things that need to be done for the next day. Prioritize them. What is important? In that list of things that need to be done, at least 2 things you can actually junk because they're not really absolutely necessary. You understand? Remember, determine what is urgent. Don't overcommit. You are human. There's only so much you can do. Don't overcommit. Please remember you time. Make me time. Me time is very important. Okay? Allow time for the unexpected. Always give yourself a little free time just in case there's something that needs to be dealt with at the last minute. Handle things once. You don't have to keep going back to the same thing over and over. If you plan it well, it only needs to be done once. If you don't plan it is when you have to keep going back, revisiting, seeing whether it needs to be done again, anything needs to be changed, right? Create realistic deadlines. And one thing that you need to remember when you're managing time, always give yourself a buffer, okay? If you know you can finish the work in half an hour, tell them 45 minutes. It's easier to submit a job earlier than to submit even a minute late. All right? Set goals for yourself and your time. Goals actually give you something to get up in the morning, to wake up in the morning because you've got something to achieve, something to look forward to. How many of us feel this, lethargy in the morning? Oh God, just another day. But if you set goals for yourself, trust me, that changes completely. All right? Develop routines. Focus on one thing at a time. Don't try and do 101 things at the same time because what's going to happen is you're not going to do anything perfectly. You're going to do it 80% or 70%, which is not effective. So if you do a job, do it completely, clearly, perfectly, move on. All right? Eliminate or minimize your distractions. Don't keep checking your phone every 5 minutes for messages. You know it's office work. You've got time set aside for work. Maybe every hour, check your messages if needs be. Set a time aside for that. But if you keep going back to check your social media, check email, check WhatsApp, check 101 apps that we have, There are distractions there. When I open WhatsApp, oh, somebody else has sent me a message on Messenger. Let me check that. You're killing time. Don't do that. Okay? Remember to delegate tasks, outsource work. We all have certain talents. Remember, other people have their own particular talents, and it takes a lot of talent to complete a job. Outsource work, delegate work that can be delegated. And most importantly, please have fun in life. It's most important. If you don't, we have only one life. If we don't live it, by the time you reach your 60s, you reach retirement age, you're thinking, what life did I have? Work, sleep, eat, that's it. Wouldn't you want to sit back and think, and wow, remember that trip we went for? Remember the hike we went for? Remember the movie we watched? What fun we had? That's the excitement of life. And you need that excitement in your life. So please remember to make some time for fun and play as well. All right? So, I am running a time management workshop, a full. So this was just a teaser to what we will talk about in the time management workshop. So it is an 8-hour workshop. We're running it on the 27th, 28th, and 29th of August. The time slots are given here. So the actual price of this workshop is 10,000 rupees, but you will get it at 3,000 rupees for those who would like to register. Provided you register by the 26th, you can visit our website, www.skillupright.com, and click on the time management. There's time management on the top there. If you click on that, it will give you the details of the time management workshop. Or you can get in touch with me. My number is 77601 96688. Okay? Remember, you will never find time for anything. If you want to make time, you must make the time for it. Okay, so now I'm going to open up for questions. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to stop the slide share so we can talk. Can you see me?
No.
Okay, open to questions. Kill me. There is no stupid question, okay? Kill me with questions. That's perfectly all right. No questions? You can chat in your questions. Samir, can you hear me now? Great. Looks like no one has any questions.
I have posted so many questions, Catherine. Please check.
I'm not able to view any of the questions.
Catherine, just click on chat section. Okay,
I
there are.
did. I have.
Okay.
But I'm not
All
able
right.
to view any of the questions.
Okay. All right. No problem. I'll help you out. Okay. There are questions like, okay, work from home brings no boundaries to personal life.
Mm-hmm.
Divya, okay, who was that? Divya Darshan, I guess.
Divya.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's very true, Divya. And that's where we need to learn to start delegating work and start learning to say no. Okay. Yes, work from home has no boundaries. People have no conscience left when it comes to work from home because they think you've become that multi talented, multi limbed personality who can deal with 100 things. But that's where you need to learn to say no. You need to learn to prioritize and say, hey, my work hours are from so much time to so much time. I'm perfectly all right with doing a little more. I am I have other work scheduled at this point in time. Please excuse me. All right. Option two, learn to delegate. Delegate work to the people at home when you're sitting at home. Set boundaries at home. Tell them from so much this time to this time is my work time. I will come and say hello to you in between, but in between, please do not disturb me. It's easier said than done. I know you're going to tell me that, but learn to do it. You need to learn to be firm. How this actually helps you is actually you're teaching your children how to manage time, how to set boundaries, and that is very important. Teach them that it's important. So when you are teaching by example, not by, uh, you know, not by just doing the blah blahs. It's very easy to tell people to do things, but when you do it yourself is when you are setting expectations. You are setting that bar for them to live up to. All right. Can you help me with the next question, please, Vinod? No, that was Naveed, right?
Yeah. Right. So, Debabrata says, if I say no to I mean, for many people, they take it personally. How do I handle this?
Yes. Unfortunate but true. Level of maturity is where that kicks in, right? Yes, a lot of people tend to take things no. So it's about how you say that no, all right? Especially if it's somebody who you know is very sensitive, who tends to take things personally. You need to start with use something called a sandwich technique. All right, a sandwich technique is you start with a positive, put the no in between, and then sandwich it with the on the other side with a positive. All right. So in such a situation, what you could just say is, "Hey, thank you for thinking about asking me. I feel privileged that you've asked me about this. Unfortunately, I have constraints right now, and I would not be able to do it. But here's what I can do for you. Let me see if so and so can help you with this job." You understand? So what you're doing is you very nicely said no, but you also offered to help them find an alternative. That's one way of dealing with that no. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions, Naveen?
Uh, okay. How Ganesh says, how to keep the motivation level all the time.
Ganesh, I love that question. Yes. Motivation, like I said, you need to give yourself some personal time. Okay, that should be your motivation in life. So when you set your plan for the day, say, okay, this is the work that needs to be completed. As a reward, I'm going to give myself 1 hour of me time, game time, whatever time. Set those goals where you're giving yourself me time. That should be your motivation. Okay, when you start giving yourself me time, invariably what happens is we're so caught up in pleasing everybody that we have no me time. That me time is your best motivation. Set aside time in a day to say, okay, hey, I'm going to work for an hour, I'm going to watch a movie today. So put aside time for that. All right. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? I think we're gone past time. But if there are anything, please feel free to reach out to us, and I'd be more than happy to help you guys. You have my number, you have the website. Please get in touch with us. Do attend our effective time management workshop, the complete one. This is just a teaser to how much there's so much more that we can learn when it comes to time management. Okay. And I'd be more than happy to help you. It's been a pleasure being with you guys today. Stay safe, and hoping to see you at the time management workshop on the 27th. So I'm going to say bye-bye for now. Bye-bye. Take care.